This is the Samantha Marie Design River Romper. So, full disclosure, I messed mine up the very first time I made it. The ties and snaps can be a little confusing, so I'm going to show you in this video all the different placements required for a 2 and a 4 snap option. So I'm going to be doing a 2 tie option, but again, I'm going to show you the placement for 4. I am doing a pants romper with short sleeves and regular leg cuffs. So I have all my pattern pieces cut out. I have my 2 front bodices, then I have my back bodice, my 2 short sleeves, my regular leg bands, my ties, and then last I have my neckband piece. On your pattern pieces, you're going to notice there are lines on the front and back bodices. Those are where you need to make either cuts or marks on your fabric, because that is where your ties and snaps are going to go. So you just lay your fabric on top, and then you can either make a small cut or a mark with a fabric marker. So here are my cuts on my front bodice pieces here, and then another right here. My short sleeves need to be hemmed about a 1/2 inch, so I just folded that up and pinned it, and then I went ahead and hemmed these with my cover stitch. You're going to notice that your sleeves, one of these points is higher than the other. So the higher point is going to be what you lay on top of your back bodice, right sides together, right along this edge, and then we're going to sew straight down this. Here's what my first sleeve looks like when it's all flipped up, and now I'm going to repeat that with my other sleeve, and we're going to put the highest point lined up with our back bodice. If you're unsure if you have the right side, just lay it on and then flip your sleeve up as if it was sewn on to see if that sleeve looks the same as your other sleeve that you already have on. If your hem is not in the correct place, then it's wrong. So this is what it should look like when you have it lined up in the correct position. Your hem should be on the outside like this other one. Now we are going to attach one of our front bodice pieces. So you will see that there is an edge that you're going to line up with your sleeve. So we're going to lay these right sides together onto our sleeve, and you're going to line up these edges with the top point of your front bodice lining up with this corner of your sleeve here, and then we're going to sew or serge this straight on. You're going to do that with both of your front bodice pieces. So this is what it should look like before you sew it on, and this is what it will look like after you sew it. If you are doing snaps and you're using a knit, I highly recommend you put some sort of interfacing or other fabric inside. So I have double brush poly laying inside my rib knit, and I'm just going to stitch this together all the way around. You don't have to do it this way. You could just serge both of these together if you wanted, because after we do this, we're going to lay these right sides together, and then we're going to serge on these 2 edges here to close it. After that, you flip it right side out, and that is your little snap placket. And that is what I did on this second one. I just serged it. And then for your ties, you're going to lay this right sides together, and then you're going to serge along the long edge and one short side. And then you're going to turn this right side out, and you're going to do this for all of your tie pieces. So again, you can either do 4 straps or just 2. So you can have it only tie on the outside, or have it tie on the outside and on the inside around their body. Now for your neckband piece, you're just going to take this and fold it wrong sides together so your print is on the outside all the way around. So I just put pins or clips on mine just to hold it together. Remember that we have marks or cuts on our front bodice pieces to position our ties and snaps. If you're doing 4 ties or 4 snaps, this is where your placement needs to be. You will have one that's going to be on the outside of your front bodice, and the other one is going to be on the underside of your other bodice. After you position those, then you can go ahead and add on your neckband. Now your neckband is actually going to be a little bit longer than what you actually need. So I just started at one side. There's going to be a little point right in your crotch, and that is where you line up your neckband. So I only clipped that on, and then I just serged my neckband all the way around because the other end is going to be a little bit longer than your point on your other side. I also decided to top stitch my neckband down. That's just preference. I like how it looks. So when you're doing that, you're basically just top stitching on the opposite side so that this seam lays nice and flat. The next step would be to lay your front and back bodices right sides together, and then you're going to add your inside ties and straps. This can be a little confusing, so I'm going to show you that placement now. So this is where all of your ties or snaps should be. You should always have one of your ties or snaps that's going to be sewn onto your neckband and one on your side seam. You should already have your placement for your ties marked on your fabric from your pattern pieces. Starting with this inside tie, where I have this clipped right here on top of my front bodice lined up with my side seams is where you would sew this one. So not in between your side seam, but right here on top of this front bodice, you would just sew this straight down. Now the other one that is on the inside, you're gonna lay here, just like I have this one sewn on, is exactly how it should be. This one is gonna get sewn in between this front and back bodice, inside that side seam right there. Okay, so you can see that that strap is actually going to be on the outside because we sewed it in between the front and back bodice. But this one is going to be on the inside because instead of putting it underneath this, we're laying it here and we're serging or sewing that on. Okay, so now for your front tie pieces that are on your neckband, you're going to have one that is going to be sewn on the underside of your neckband here. So you would sew it on just like I have it clipped underneath your neckband, in between there and the back side of this bodice. Your other one is going to be on the outside of your front bodice. So this one, you're going to sew in between your neckband and this front bodice piece here. So you can see right there is the end of it. So I just stuck it in between these and I serged it on like that. Okay. So now when we turn this right side out, I'll show you how they would all tie. So this is how it would tie. So there's my little tie. I'm just gonna undo that. So one of your neckband pieces here is going to tie with one of your side straps, okay? And then on your inside, these two would either tie or snap together, just like that. They're clipped, so it might look a little weird, but those would either snap together or tie there, and then that ties on the outside. So if you're only doing two ties, this is how it would look. You have one strap in your side seam, and then you have your other strap on the outside of your body piece. And then that's why it matters down here which one of these gets laid down first, so that when you fold this over, this is on the outside and able to be tied over here. because if I accidentally sewed this backwards, which I did the first time, hold on, and I had that one down and this one on top of it, now my tie's in there and I can't tie this to anything. So hope that helps. You're going to lay your front bodices right sides together on your back bodice, and you're going to insert your ties or snaps into your side seams where I showed you in the previous videos. You're going to start at your sleeves and you're going to sew down both side bodices. Remember that your neck bands will need to be overlapping so that there's no gap in your front bodices. Also, one of your neck bands was longer, so when you're sewing the crotch circle here, you will need to cut one of those neck bands off. Remember to use either your marks or your cuts that you made in your crotch from your pattern so that you can line up the ends of your neck bands with those points so that they overlap and so that everything is even. And then you're going to sew inside this crotch. So here I'm starting at my leg cuff and I am sewing that circle crotch, and I'm gonna cut off the longer end of my neck band as I go around this circle here. Here's my bodice all sewn. So I laid down my bodice with my neckband tie down first, and then here's going to be my second outside tie. So this side of my front bodice I laid down second, overlapping with my neckband, so that when the baby is wearing this bodice piece is going to be what's up against their body, and that other piece is my outside tie, so that's going to be on top. Now I showed you what this looked like in a previous video, so if you need to go back and watch that for your tie placement, you can. Now with my bodice right side out, I'm going to sew my leg bands. So I folded these in half and serged down this long side. And then when it's right side out, you fold it inside itself and in half. So it should look like this. And then you're going to sew this on your leg in the round. When you're all finished with your leg bands, you should be done. And this is what it should look like. I hope this tutorial helped. If you had any questions, please just leave them in the comments below.